Welcome to the Spaghetti Junction Boys podcast, coming to you from beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I am dressed like every 80s sitcom dad. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast, on Apple, Spotify, whatever, I look great. Definitely don't look like an 80s dad. But anyway, thanks so much for joining us. I'm joined by Doc Jacobson. Before we get things going, want to thank Rosati's in Buckhead, the #1 place to watch all the action. Over 40 big screen TVs, over 100 beers on tap, the coldest beer in Atlanta, the best pizza in Atlanta, the best servers in Atlanta. Support the people who support us. Support Rosati's in Buckhead. Also, want to give a shout out to Colorcast. Check out the Colorcast app. The first of its kind social sports talk app where sports fans, armchair quarterbacks, and everyone in between can tune in and listen to legends and diehards talk about the game as it happens, or request the mic and voice their own opinions. All the stats, all the scores, all the trade rumors, and all the hottest audio takes all in one place. Just download the Colorcast app, request the mic, and give your hottest sports take. This is the future of sports commentary. Download Colorcast right now in the Apple App Store. So, Doc, people listen to us for nonsense, and we give it to them in spades. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. Some would even say, on our best days, malarkey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's where our proof, our pudding is in the nonsense. We could come at it X's and O's all days. We can get into the thick of it. We can tell you this guy. Yeah, no, we definitely can't. I was leading in the wrong way. I was doing a little misdirection, a little red herring. Trying to get some English in these fools.
I would love to see a review on iTunes that just says, these guys break down the games like no other.
Real Tony Romo-esque breakdowns.
Yeah. No, I 100% try to do the Romo stuff, like when I'm watching the NFL on Sunday with my wife, and I'll just be like, oh, yeah, loaded box. This is going to be a play action. They're going to beat him over the top on the tight end, and then they just run like an ISO run. I was like, oh, okay. I was wrong. I'm not Tony Romo, it turns out. I played a significantly less amount of time with the Dallas Cowboys. But the reason that the people come here, Doc, in addition to the nonsense and the malarkey and occasionally tomfoolery, is the gambling picks. To fade me. To fade my dumb ass. I feel so bad because Michael, God rest his soul, to hell with bees, did a bang-up job last year. Was just gutting those lines up and down, winning ball games, beating spreads, and I tried to carry on that spirit. And have I done that?
Probably not.
No, I have not. But, and this is big brain working. Look at the big brain on me. I was going 2-3 for like 7 weeks in a row. Now, did I go 1-4 last week? Yes. Is that worse? Also, yes. But is it different than 2-3? Again, yes. So I feel like I'm off the schneid, even though I did worse. That's what I'm convincing myself. 5-0 week coming. I'll have a blog going out that'll explain all these picks as well in more dumb detail. But I'm going to get it started, Doc. All right? I'm going to get started. I'm going to get us humming with a couple of underdogs. We're a couple of underdogs ourselves. We're the little podcast that could. We started on a telephone between Ben and I years ago and my mom didn't even know what the podcast was called 2 years into it, all right? That screams underdog. So in the vein of our podcast, I'm going to give you two to start out with. Give me Wake +4 against Clemson. Now, Doc, you know as well as I do, I love to go with what Vegas is saying. I love to go away from the sucker bets. This screamed sucker bet. Number 10 team in the country hasn't been held to less than 35 points in a game all year. Going to Death Valley. Clemson, who's been +4. Dumb Brain's taking the points. Clemson had not covered a game until a couple weeks ago that +9 or -9.5 against Florida State. Worst beat of my life. And then last week they blow out UConn. So now they have two covers on the year. Wake Forest is a different animal. Listen to Jock Peterson. When he says we're those MFers, he's talking about the Wake Forest Demon Deacon football team. +4, love that offense, love that quarterback, hate the fact that Clemson has to try to keep up with them. They'll slow down that offense a little bit. That is still a good defense, but they're not going to keep up with that offense. Give me Wake, and I get 4 points. Next one, Michigan State +19 versus the Buckeyes. Give me Sparty. Give me green. They've got the green that reminds you of the bank lollipops when you're a kid. I love those lollipops, and I love Sparty. Kenneth Walker is a monster. He shows up for big games. He had his Heisman moment against Michigan. He could have another one here. I don't think Sparty wins, but I do think they cover. Who's Ohio State's best win? Is it Purdue? They're 6-4. Is it Penn State? They're 6-4. Is it another team that begins with a P and is 6-4? I don't know. But they've been beating up on bad teams in the Big Ten. I do think Ohio State's good, but they've beat up on bad teams, struggled a little bit with some of the better teams. Obviously lost to Oregon, barely slipped by Penn State. Michigan State's a very good team. They feel disrespected. Chip on the shoulder, potential Heisman winner, and 19 points. Give me Sparty, baby.
I like it. And, best of luck to you in your endeavors and getting off the schneid. I like it. I myself am back on the schneid. I went 1-4 last week. I'm just angry. I'm just angry. I about threw a phone through a TV last weekend. I even tried to change up the juju for the afternoon games and go to Rosati's and, try to get some better mojo moving, and nothing could help. I think I am destined this year.
Rosati's, but to be clear.
They helped a little bit. They did give me my one win of the weekend, which was the Packers. So, thank you, Rosati's. Love Rosati's. Yes. All right, pick number 1 coming at you. We have got a little game in Nashville, Tennessee between the Texans and the Titans. Titans play well at home. Titans are a good team. Who is not a good team? The Houston Texans. We're back on it, baby. We got to get back to it. The Houston Texans.
Doc hates the Texans.
Yes, absolutely. I'm taking Titans, not Texans. Titans -10.5. I just Adrian Peterson, he might be resurrected. I know last week we should have made that -3 bet against the Saints. It's just I wanted to break something that day. Anyways, on to pick number 2. We have got a tough one for me personally. I know you have done this a couple of times this year, betting against your favorite squad. I am now going to bet against my favorite squad. I am betting against the Minnesota Vikings. I'm taking the Packers -2.5 in Minneapolis. Tough place to play, but it is indoors. Don't have to worry about weather factor, windshield. I've been talking to my boys up north and the Minneapolis area, and they said it's starting to get a little chilly. But a noon kick or a 1 o'clock kickoff, noon kickoff there, it'll still be a little warm. Boys will be running, boys will be humming. Aaron Rodgers is back. He is unstoppable. I can't bet against him. I would love to see the Packers win or lose, but I can't bet against the man Aaron Rodgers. So pick number 1, Titans -10.5. Pick number 2, Packers -2.5.
Now, if someone was listening to this podcast and they had no idea who the Minnesota Vikings rival was, they would just assume from you bad-mouthing the Texans that it was Houston somehow. So listen, Doc, cover your ears for this next pick. You got headphones on, put hands on top of the headphones so you can hear even less. I'm taking Nebraska +9.5. All right? Nebraska, listen, Wisconsin, tremendous defense, probably the second best defense in America, behind the University of Georgia. Nebraska's 3-7. They've won just one game in the Big Ten. They've fired basically every coach that's not named Scott Frost. But you know what they haven't done this year? Lose a game by 9.5 or more points. They lost to Ohio State by 9. They lost to Purdue by 5. They lost to Michigan by 3. They lost to Michigan State by 3. They lost to Oklahoma by 7. They've played one of the toughest schedules in America, if not the toughest schedule. And they keep it close against good teams. Wisconsin's a very good team. They're very hot right now. It does scare me to have Adrian Martinez, 11th-year quarterback, going up against that Wisconsin defense, he will fumble at least 3 times. Mark my words on that. But Nebraska will somehow cover. They will cover on this because they do not get blown out by good teams. I may eat those words just like I eat the delicious pizza at Rosati's. But give me the Cornhuskers plus 9.5. Next one, Doc, I'm taking my own team. All right? I'm taking my own team. I'm not going to apologize for it. Okay? So don't make me feel bad because I don't feel bad. Okay?
Fair enough. It won't make you feel bad.
All right. I'm taking the Dolphins minus 3. Now, Dolphins won 2 straight games, blew out the Ravens, and that was on a Thursday night. They get a couple extra days rest their bones, throw the ball around, get some more chemistry going with Tua and the boys. And Joe Flacco's at quarterback for the Jets. The Jets are bad because Julio Jones and A.J. Brown missed the game and the Jets beat the Titans. And then Mike White threw for 8,000 yards the other week. We started thinking, hey, are the Jets okay? They're not. They're bad at football. We're going to get into the silly season of someone saying, oh, can University of Georgia beat the Lions or the Jets? No, they can't. But the Jets are a bad professional football team. I may take the Berlin Rain, Danny Werfel's old team, over the New York Jets. So give me the Dolphins minus 3, fins up, aqua, orange, it's over.
I think my ears are bleeding. I mean, you one take Nebraska, pisses me off while I'm wearing my Iowa State hat. 2, you bet your favorite team in the NFL and abscond me in years past for doing that. I don't know. I might have to throw in the towel this year. I might have to be done. I'm just kidding. We're back here giving you winners. You know what I like this week?
On the air?
What's that?
If that was just your resignation on the air, after all we had to pay you to come back after you were flirting with other podcasts in the off season.
You guys see what the market value is. Come on now.
Yeah, Doc's agent's Jimmy Sexton.
All right, pick number 2. I know I keep saying this. Cardinals are the best teams in football, and they are not getting me wins. I'm okay with that, though. This week, the line is tight. Kyler might be back. He's finally practicing. I like Cardinals minus 2 in Seattle. Seattle went up to the frozen tundra last weekend in their first snow game of the year, which was awesome. I love a good snow game. Just did a little weather report. We're not getting to Weatherman Doc. Just had to check something on it. Seahawks play poorly in cold weather. High for Sunday in Seattle, 47 degrees. It's going to be a little nippy. Boys are going to be a little cold. I don't see Russell Wilson and that repaired surgically finger, whatever, little tendon he's got an issue with, holding on to that ball too well. I like the Cardinals to come out strong and just, right the wrongs that they have done me personally in my betting over the last couple of weeks. They're going to right them this weekend. Take Cardinals minus 2.5. Pick number 4. We are sitting here. I'm going to have to edit this. My phone did not die. All right. Pick number 4. Chiefs are here. And they are ready to go. I'm not sold on this Cowboys team. Chiefs are home in Arrowhead. Dak Prescott is looking wishy-washy. Had a good game last week. Week before, not so good. And I think that this Chiefs team is finally coming into its stride. I think they realize that throwing that deep Hail Mary ball to Tyreek Hill, which I love. Everybody in the world loves to see it. Chicks dig the long ball. That's what they say. They're relying on the shorter, more consistent completions, and they're playing better football to win the game. I'd like the Chiefs by a lot here. I do not see Dallas's defense really doing anything. I mean, if they can shut down Micah Parsons on the offensive line for the Chiefs, that Dallas defense, it's got some holes in the secondary. It's good. Don't get me wrong. They've played well this year. But that defensive line being banged up this deep into the season and Micah Parsons being their best pass rusher, he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. He will make a play or two, but if they can limit him to one play this game, I love the Chiefs big in this game. So pick number 3, Cardinals -2.5. Pick number 4, Chiefs -2.5. Mr. Hildebrand, over to you for the whammy.
Now, if I made you mad with the Dolphins, my whammy. Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, under 64.5.
Okay, that's okay.
I don't love unders. No one does. But Vanderbilt in conference play has scored 28 points, 20 points, 17 points. In their other 3 SEC games against Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, they've scored a combined 6 points. That offense is bad. For some reason, they went from a D coordinator turned head coach to a D coordinator turned head coach, and are like, oh, our offense is still bad. Who would have guessed? Now, Ole Miss, senior day, bought Hemingway Stadium. They may be looking a little bit ahead to the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving. They may be looking ahead to that just a little bit, may come out a little sleepy, or if they come out on fire, they'll slow down. Ole Miss's defense has really come into their own the last couple of weeks. They played well against Tennessee. They played well against LSU. They played well against Texas A&M. They played well against Liberty. Really, it's been since that stretch of Arkansas and Alabama that they played poorly. So I think they're going to shut down the Vandy offense. Ole Miss still dealing with some injuries. Matt Corral still a little hobbled. Wide receivers still a little hobbled. Not sure who all is going to be playing there. I don't think Lane's going to turn it up to 11. I do think there may be a distraction looking ahead to the next week. 64.5 is a ton. I mean, how many can you see Vanderbilt scoring? 17 points? So that means we would need a 48 spot from Ole Miss, a 48-17 to hit the over. This isn't hitting the over. Come on. You don't need a Vanderbilt education to know that this is the smart pick. We're going with mathematics, baby. We're going with mathematics. Give me the under. I'm not apologizing for it. I'm not apologizing for this either. Under 64.
Well, I wouldn't accept your apology anyways because I'm switching it up from the text message. My whammy is Iowa State money line. I'm just kidding, everybody. I just wanted to see Mike's face on that one. No, I'll be sitting here going Ravens.
Can we stop talking real quick? The Clones are going to win this weekend.
Oh yeah, they are. I mean, Oklahoma sucks. I mean, we can go into that after I get to my whammy, but I was just joshing you, bud. Just throwing you a little josh.
Let the record show that I offered Doc a chance to talk exclusively Iowa State Cyclones, and he's passing it up to probably talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, fine. We want to go to the Clones? I'll go to Clones. Breece Hall.
Please, give your whammy, Doc. Give your whammy. Don't be getting away.
I'm shook now. I'm shook. I don't know. I have to take my hat off. I'm no longer an Iowa State fan, I guess. I didn't take time to talk about it. I'm losing it.
North is dying for some Cyclones talk, but Doc's over here saying, I don't know, Derek Carr is going to beat them through the air and they're going to cover. So listen, Doc, cover your ears for this next pick. You got headphones on. Put hands on top of the headphones so you can hear even less. I'm taking Nebraska plus 9.5. All right. Nebraska, listen, Wisconsin, tremendous defense. Probably the second best defense in America behind the University of Georgia. Nebraska's 3-7. They've won just one game in the Big Ten. They've fired basically every coach that's not named Scott Frost. But you know what they haven't done this year? Lose a game by 9.5 or more points. They lost to Ohio State by 9. They lost to Purdue by 5. They lost to Michigan by 3. They lost to Michigan State by 3. They lost to Oklahoma by 7. They've played one of the toughest schedules in America, if not the toughest schedule. And they keep it close against good teams. Wisconsin's a very good team. They're very hot right now. It does scare me to have Adrian Martinez, 11th-year quarterback, going up against that Wisconsin defense. He will fumble at least 3 times. Mark my words on that. But Nebraska will somehow cover. They will cover on this because they do not get blown out by good teams. I may eat those words just like I eat the delicious pizza at Rosati's. But give me the Cornhuskers plus 9.5. Next one, Doc, I'm taking my own team. All right? I'm taking my own team. I'm not going to apologize for it. Okay? So don't make me feel bad because I don't feel bad. Okay?
Fair enough. It won't make you feel bad.
All right. I'm taking the Dolphins -3. Now, Dolphins won 2 straight games, blew out the Ravens, and that was on a Thursday night. They get a couple extra days rest their bones, throw the ball around, get some more chemistry going with Tua and the boys. And Joe Flacco's at quarterback for the Jets. The Jets are bad because Julio Jones and A.J. Brown missed the game and the Jets beat the Titans. And then Mike White threw for 8,000 yards the other week. We started thinking, hey, are the Jets okay? They're not. They're bad at football. We're going to get into the silly season of someone saying, oh, can University of Georgia beat the Lions or the Jets? No, they can't. But the Jets are a bad professional football team. I may take the Berlin Rain, Danny Werfel's old team, over the New York Jets. So give me the Dolphins -3, fins up, aqua, orange, it's over.
I think my ears are bleeding. I mean, you one take Nebraska, pisses me off while I'm wearing my Iowa State hat. 2, you bet your favorite team in the NFL and abscond me in years past for doing that. I don't know. I might have to throw in the towel this year. I might have to be done. I'm just kidding. We're back here giving you winners. You know what I like this week?
On the air?
What's that?
If that was just your resignation on the air, after all we had to pay you to come back after you were flirting with other podcasts in the off season.
You gotta see what the market value is. Come on now.
Yeah, Doc's agent's Jimmy Sexton.
No, I'm going -6.5. The Baltimore Ravens going up to the windy city of Chicago. Chicago is not good. They are no offense. I mean, Chicago might score 10 points this game, and the Ravens are just going to run away with it. This is where the Ravens need to put together a solid game against a bad team and blow them out to increase their lead and solidify their running as the AFC North champions. This is where it's done. This is where it happens. This has all the writings on the wall of a Ravens blowout. I love it. Cyclones win. Clones by 90.
Clones by 90. Well, I didn't hear the Rams in your pick, Doc, and that's because they have a bye week. And they may need to have a bye week to go over some safety protocols in the stadium. Namely, don't throw concessions. Matt Stafford's wife, Kelly, apparently threw a soft pretzel at a fan after an altercation between her group and another group at the stadium. She has since apologized on Instagram saying, quote, I'm an idiot. That's outside of the quote, that's actually how I start most of my comments to people. It's just good to get that disclaimer out in the open. She says, I'm an idiot. He was saying a bunch of things that were aggressive towards our crew, but zero excuse. I tried to apologize, but in the end, I knew I was wrong. Will always stand up for my guy and everyone I love, but obviously I needed to do it completely different. I'm embarrassed too. Sorry you had to witness me in my weak moment. Listen, first of all, I'm very glad that Kelly Stafford is healthy and doing well first and foremost. And second of all, I need the comment that elicited a pretzel throw more than I need anything in this world. More than I need the Dolphins -3 against Joe Flacco. Because, Doc, you've been to a game or two, no?
Absolutely.
So you've also stood in line for concessions a time or two, no?
Yeah, in my younger days.
Doc, I've seen you drink 16 Miller Lights at a college baseball game. What do you mean you haven't been to the concession line since you were younger?
That's a beer line. That's not concessions.
Sounds like you're making concessions on this. So you stand in line and then pay. I know they have $1 zillion, but you're still paying an exorbitant amount for a pretzel compared to what pretzels typically are. So you're standing in line, you get this pretzel, and there's nothing that can get between me and eating my food at my seat. I'm like Mike Allstott after I leave the concession stand. You are not. If someone tried to strip nachos from my body, guess what, pal? You got broken fingers. All right, because I'm clenched that tight between my arm and the nachos. And so, for someone to get me to throw my concessions at them after I waited in line and spent $11 on a pretzel, it has to be pretty bad. I think someone could just be like, hey, you, dad from an 80s sitcom, you're ugly and fat and probably dumb. I'd just be like, oh, that's rude, but fuck you, man. Going back to my seat with my nachos. Because it's just, you're already so invested at that point. I can't imagine. And what's your last result? You're done with insults. Okay, I've hurt you with my words as much as I can. I'm not going to throw fists because that's taking it over the line. But I'm going to find a middle ground. And that's, you've made me so mad. Ugh! And you throw that pretzel. So I need that comment. Doc, what would get you to the point of throwing a pretzel at somebody?
I will.
A stranger, not me. It would not take much for you to throw a pretzel.
You're going to give me the wrong look and you're getting a pretzel right at the head. But two things before I get to answering that questions. First of all, in the words of Adam Schefter, assault. She assaulted him with a pretzel. Assault with salt on a pretzel.
God, I was just going to ask you. Please tell me that's not a pun.
I love it.
Information now? Or is that time past?
For what?
Never mind.
All right. And then, all right, to answer your question, someone has got to just, it's got to hit you to your soul, right? It's got to be just, they break you down to the absolute epitome of, they know your deepest, darkest secrets somehow. They're a sorcerer. They're in your brain. They've got beachfront realtree. I mean, for me, they just got to call me a pea head with a big body. And I'm throwing fists after that assault pretzel comes at them.
They only serve field corn in Ames.
I can't get into what I would do because that would very much be indicted. And then point number 3 is Matthew Stafford's wife a fair weather fan? You didn't see her throwing pretzels in Detroit, and you know she was getting a lot more insults in Detroit than they are in L.A. A lie?
I do think, I didn't even think about that, but probably the expectations are different. Where you have Rams fans who are like, we're one of the best teams in football already. We just added Odell Beckham and Von Miller. We're going to be great. And then they just get hammered by the horrible 49ers and Jimmy G. And so it's probably just like, hey, what the hell? Or maybe they're 49ers fans saying like, you just lost to us? Suck it. Meanwhile, you're in Detroit. And first of all, people in Michigan, lovely people. Lovely people. No matter if you're upriver or downriver, lovely people. Especially the Yoopers.
Oh, yeah.
And Lions fans, I feel like they know that they suck. The Red Wings have won a bunch of titles. Steve Yzerman, Gordie Howe, Chris Osgood. Great franchise. Pistons, you had the bad boys, and then you had that team with Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace and Rip and all that. Great. The Tigers, they've got a bright future. They've got a ton of young talent. And then, they went to the World Series a couple years ago. They've won it with Bird Fidrich. I mean, Detroit, you got some teams there. Michigan State basketball is there. You got Michigan football there. So they've got some winners that they're able to be like, you know what? The Lions suck. It is what it is. We maybe had the best running back of all time. We maybe had the best wide receiver of all time, and we've still won nothing. So then they were just like, thank you for your service of being here, Stafford family. We are very sorry to have made you come be Lions. We didn't mean to do this to you. We don't wish this upon anyone, but every year 53 guys have to be Lions, and unfortunately, Matt is one of them. So maybe they were just like, I guess that they were just always in the good graces of the fans there. And you look at the other places that you'd be. I mean, sure, Chicago has a bunch of assholes, but Minneapolis, some very nice people. Green Bay, there's that saying, Wisconsin nice, So even in the division, you're not getting things thrown at you.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like San Francisco is that, it's not the the Oakland Raiders back in the day where you're getting stabbed in the parking lot walking out of there. I mean, what are they going to say? Oh, my tech's better than your tech. We're Tech City. Like what are we talking about here? I don't know. The story threw me off.
You would have thought that someone had told them that Kelly drives an SUV, because that'll get things thrown at you in San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
Maybe she doesn't compost and they found that out. Maybe she put an aluminum can in a standard trash can and they said, whoa, easy there, Earth terrorist. And then
you're still using aerosols?
Yeah. Oh, it looks like you used hairspray. I'm sorry. Do you want baby seals to die? Because that's what's gonna happen. All right, buckaroo.
You're still using plastic straws? Trying to kill sea turtles? Terrorist?
Oh, you live in a house with more than 2 bedrooms? We used to have a 3-bedroom, but we turned that into a sea turtle sanctuary for injured sea turtles. We don't even use Dawn anymore. Wait, I think Dawn was used proactively to help sea turtles.
And little penguins in the oil spill. Dawn's a good company.
Yeah, I apologize for the stray bullet there, the stray pretzel there, Don. Didn't mean that. So, Doc, I wanna get you out of your comfort zone real quick to talk about our last story of the night, and that is Brass Against. And I'd like to give a disclaimer. If you are one who is easily offended, or employs either of us, or is related closely to either of us, or under the age of 18, or currently live in a Coventry, maybe it's time to stop the podcast. But if none of those fit the bill, or you're willing that the juice is worth the squeeze, you'll see why that's a poor choice of words in a little bit. Stay with us here. Brass Against. Their lead singer, Brass Against is a band, has publicly apologized for peeing on a fan's face at a concert, the Rockville Festival in Daytona Beach, Florida, over the weekend. Quote, "I have always pushed the limits in music and stage. That night, I pushed the limits too far," Eurista wrote in a statement. Yes, that's Sophia Eurista. Man, that's really close to urinary and all this Eurista. I love my family. That's a weird way to start that apology. Yeah, peeing on someone's face is thinking about family. You know what? I love my family, the band, and the fans more than anything. And I know that some were hurt or offended by what I did. I apologize to them and want them to know that I didn't mean to hurt them. I'm not a shock artist. I always want to put the music first. I'm grateful for all of your continued love and support. So, she singled out a male fan in the crowd with a beer can on his head. She called him up on the stage while she was performing Rage Against the Machine's Wake Up. She then told him to lie on the stage, at which point she pulled her pants down and urinated on his face. The man, seemingly thrilled by the act, then proceeded to stand up and spit liquid into the audience. Oh, I hope it was good. So, this was at Daytona International Speedway.
Makes sense.
One of my favorite parts about this is that NASCAR came out with a statement. If you get banned from NASCAR, you did some shit. Well, not some shit, but close. You did some stuff, man. Daytona International Speedway doesn't condone the inappropriate actions that took place during Thursday's Welcome to Rockville. Welcome to Rockville sounds like such an innocuous event. It sounds so nice and lovely. There's probably finger painting and like those little bottles where you put the different colored sand in there.
Yeah.
And we are working with promoter Danny Wimmer Presents to address the issue. The band will not be included in future programming at NASCAR venues. I mean, listen, there is a billion things to unpack here. I was going to say uncork here, but I think we need to put the cork in for the time. I had never heard of Brass Against. Have you?
No, I haven't either. And the funniest thing about that is I just searched Brass Against, and on their website, their tagline is Brass Against is a collective group of musicians who share the goal of creating music to inspire social and personal change.
I can guarantee you I am personally changed by this story. I don't think I'll ever be the same. So at least, they say there's no such thing as bad publicity. They're out there now. I mean, but I think the thing is if she says I'm not a shock artist, you kind of, if whoever's going to book you from now on is like, hey, we expect the piss, right? And the people who are going to your shows aren't just like, I'm here for the greatest hits of Brass Against. No, they're like, hey, maybe I'll be the one to get pulled up on stage. You're going to have some weird people in the audience. Which, speaking of which, this guy, according to this story in Yahoo, was, quote, thrilled by the act. What? What are the chances? This had to be a setup, because I can't imagine the percentage of people who would be, quote, thrilled by the act. I mean, if you took a survey at a concert and said, hey, tonight ends with you being pulled on stage and someone pissing on your face, positive experience, 1 to 5. I do not agree with this at all the way to strongly. The 3 is neither agree nor disagree. I'm guessing you get a lot of 1s, a lot of strongly disagree. I mean, what a big swing to take, saying, oh, I'm not a shock artist. Oh, so this got out of hand? How close were you to this getting out of hand this way? How do you go from just like, oh, it's all about the music, it's always been about the music, to I'm like one small thing at Daytona Beach, Florida from pissing on someone's face?
Well, let's be honest, though. The crowd that's there for NASCAR, I mean, I'm assuming it's in the infield, in Daytona Speedway.
Welcome to Rockville Festival.
I'm assuming, these are going to be some degenerates out there. It is Florida, 1. 2, it's NASCAR fans. 3, they either paid money for this concert or know who Brass Against is. So there's 4 solid reasons to be like, oh, these are not normal people.
Imagine the guy who's in town from Cookeville, Tennessee, going down to Florida to get away from the cold that's starting to overtake Tennessee, saying, it'd just be nice to see some races. We'll go down to they're having a festival down there called the Welcome to Rockville Festival. So it's supposed to be some bands. We'll have some Miller Lights. It'll be a good time. And so he goes down there, drives the RV down, and, gets an afternoon nap in, cooks out on the grill out front of the RV, and then says, how about we check out this band, see what it's all about? Maybe they'll play some Skynyrd or something. And then shows up. And what did you say this band's name was again? Oh, my God. The people who don't know who this is and are not explicitly there for the music are who I want to hear from.
Yeah, no, but I mean, granted, I just looked up this concert. This is not a place for children. The lineup goes like this: Metallica, Disturbed, Slipknot, A Day to Remember, Leonard Skynyrd, Rob Zombie, Social Distortion, The Offspring. I mean, granted, this is a concert I would go to because I've seen 90% of those people in concert before. But actions kind of work. If you're in the throes of a festival of Rob Zombie out there spraying fake blood on an entire crowd, I can see how you get lost in the sauce a little bit.
Can I please change my prior estimate on the amount of people who'd be okay with getting pissed on? Because after hearing the rest of that lineup, I think it's significantly higher than I anticipated.
Yeah, Lamb of God's there. I saw them live. That was a crazy show. Mudvayne, Cypress Hill, Chevelle, Mastodon. They're a Georgia band. That's cool. I've seen them live too. Anthrax. Yeah, dude, these are all people that would be very okay with a little piss play. Is that what they call it?
This probably was not even the first thing talked about by concert goers at the end of the night.
They're like, yo, did you see Metallica just shred, bro?
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, you remember that one dude got pissed on stage? That was something. I mean, again, I do appreciate the marketing effort. I mean, the other people in the bands, I can't imagine are too mad. I mean, maybe there's one who's like, we've always been about the music. Why didn't we just play like Metal Rain, our hit song? I don't know if that's a song. I don't know if that's a song by Brass Against, but I imagine the rest of them are just like, I'm glad it wasn't me who did the peeing, but people are talking about us. I mean, we're on the #1 weekly sports podcast in Atlanta, probably. So that's something.
Yeah, the part of this that makes me just giggle on the inside is like, what if this wasn't at that concert? What if this was at like 420 Fest in Atlanta, you know, a strictly like reggae kind of just chill out concert, and this chick just comes out there and starts pissing on dudes' faces. Like, just for the concert it was in, the festival it was in, makes sense, but just to take that one instance out of that festival and put it into something completely the opposite just makes me want to pee my pants from laughing. Pun intended.
One thing that I like, just keep it in your pants, please. Keep your pants in there. One thing that I like thinking about is, one, what's a horrible name for this concert festival given who is in attendance? Welcome to Rockville Festival. No, that is not the kind of festival with Rob Zombie and Anthrax. Are you kidding me? And,
that's a good point.
But so much planning, especially to have a great lineup like that. Like, those are some big bands coming. Mm-hmm. To get bands like that to Daytona, Florida, requires a lot of money, a lot of sponsorship dollars, and a lot of planning. This is probably like a year-long planning endeavor that they have planning this festival, the local folks in Daytona. So I do like the idea that over the next year, they're going to have to be planning this thing out. Like, all right, so what do we do if someone pisses on a fan again? Or do we have to get insurance for that? Do I have to call Jake at State Farm and be like, hey, am I covered if someone decides to piss on a fan again? And they have to go to sponsors. So, like, NASCAR obviously doesn't want this at their track again. I don't know if you've been to Daytona. Not a ton of venues, okay? So this may be the kaput of the Welcome to Rockville Festival. But on top of that, you need sponsors to put this on, in addition to obviously selling tickets and so forth. So just imagine someone dresses up nice for the morning. You know, they've been doing events their whole life. They love their job. It's all about putting on the shows and coordinating this. They're very organized. They dress really nice. They go to a meeting with a big sponsor, whomever it is, and they're across the table from them, and the sponsor says, well, we have some reservations based on last year. No one's going to pee on someone again, are they? Because I would like to be reassured that our name is not attached to that.
I like that, and then something just popped into my head too. I think that the agent or whatever who books Brass Against, like whoever, you know, manages that band, was like, look, we're going up against some heavy hitters here. We got Guar, we got Rob Zombie, we've got Metallica. These dudes are gonna put on a show. Let's make a name for ourselves. And what if their manager put them up to this?
So then next time they have a meeting with the manager, like, gals, I have an idea. Like, okay, Marty, I'm not pissing on someone again. No, this isn't piss again. Hear me out.
Yeah, no, I mean, this had to be planned. Like, I don't want to get too graphic, but this was not just a spur of the moment thing. Go watch the video. You'll see what I mean. Or don't. Probably don't. Don't watch the video. It is disgusting.
It was more of a spritz of the moment thing. All right, that's going to do it for us on this podcast. You can check us out at sjbatlanta.com, on Twitter at sjbatlanta, Instagram at Spaghetti Junction Boys. Thanks as always for listening, and we'll see you next week.